Do, we
We are Two Nosy Meerkats. I am Lukas, and this is Gabby. Welcome to another episode of us getting nosy in your business, but with a kind spirit and not making you feel bad about yourself. Yeah.
yeah. Um, as mentioned in the theme song, I am Gabby.
And
Not
I am Lukas.
my video looks a little different today. As you can see,
I think you look great. I think this is an improvement. I think your skin is glowing. I think you look great.
wow. I see how you really feel. Lukas, can I tell you something funny?
Please.
No, sorry, I can't. This is not the kind of podcast for that.
Yeah, no, how fucking dare you?
I was talking to my friend Avery. Shout out to Avery Evans, another funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw that I was doing this podcast with you on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh my God, this whole time, I thought that kid was like a child actor living in LA. I had no idea that he was like, there in my backyard. I'm like, yeah.
So many people think that I'm like 17 tops, maybe, just from like my online I got a young face. I got that baby face.
I have it too. It's I would get carded until I was like 24, and people would be like, oh, don't worry, that's flattering, it's not frustrating. Bullshit, it is frustrating.
Yeah, no, it's very frustrating. I want to be treated like an adult. I want to be, yeah.
It's did you ever consider though, like being like a Disney brat at any time in
like
your
being a child actor? Or
yes.
I mean, like when I was a kid, I definitely envied child actors just from like this like just the idea of celebrity and all that. But now I'm so glad I wasn't.
Oh
No
yeah.
disrespect to anyone who was a child actor. If you're listening, hello. But like,
If you're listening and want to come on the pod and discuss this with us.
yeah. What's up, Miranda Cosgrove? We see you.
Oh, you know who I like? Not Miranda, her friend on iCarly, Jeanette McCurdy.
Is she the blonde one?
The blonde one. I always had
Okay.
a huge crush on Sam from iCarly because
Really?
even at age 10 or whatever, I just knew she was kind of butch. I just knew it. There's just this sense you have when you're like 10 years old that someone
That brings me to something I want to get back to, but what I was saying is that I really am glad that I had a quote normal childhood that was separate from anything to do with like showbiz. Like I did like school theater and stuff, but like no, I wasn't like a professional child. I'm really glad that I got to just have the childhood that I did. I'm really, really pleased with that for sure.
Yeah.
Did you want to be like a Disney brat? Did you want to be like?
I wanted to be a child actor really bad. I was a child actor, but I wasn't a successful child actor, which is the difference.
Oh no.
So I got to have a normal childhood, but not of my own volition. I would have probably preferred. But it's like you said, in retrospect, you do want the normal childhood. You don't want to be like, in a way, I kind of was robbed a little of the normal childhood because I went to LaGuardia, and that's a very abnormal childhood.
Yeah.
It's a very competitive environment to thrust a 14-year-old into. So,
oh, for sure.
In a way, that made me not want to be like a pure actor anymore because I was like, this shit is fucking crazy. I don't want to be around these. It wasn't even Disney brats around me. It was a lot of like fake communists with rich parents who also hated the idea of being cynical of your own institution, which is what like communism is supposed to be. That's how you could tell these people were fake communists. And I don't care if they hear me say that because I really believe it 100%. But as a little kid,
name names. I want you to put them on fucking blast. No,
fucking don't names. Timothy Chalamet, Ansel. Or no, I'm kidding. They were fine. Ansel sucks, but Timothy's fine. I was gonna say I went on one audition when I was like 6 years old for I guess they were gonna do a gypsy revival, and I was late because my mother was late to everything that I went to growing up, and they had already, unbeknownst to me, taught all of the little kids a dance that you had to do in the audition room. So I had to fake it. I had to like ad lib a dance, and then I ran.
Oh my god. This is a nightmare situation for me because I think I told you that like my recurring nightmare in college was was that I missed a seminar or something that everyone else was aware of, but I somehow missed. That was so this is like my nightmare that you're describing.
No,
The
it
idea that
really happened to me. And it is as bad as you'd think. My mom, to make me feel better, had to pretend that after seeing all of the people who auditioned, the casting directors had decided to cancel the whole show.
what?
Just to like make me feel better that I fucking tanked it. Like,
Wow.
it was like, don't worry, they canceled the show. Don't worry about it. I don't think they actually canceled the show. But who knows? I never found out.
Oh my god. Oh, you poor thing.
Eh,
Oh,
it was a cool opportunity. I don't know. I'm grateful for the opportunities I did have, even if they led to like weird little mishaps and like being very cynical of like big institutions. Also, why am I recording this way? Shouldn't I be in a speaker view? Yes, I should.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
E.
I was a tiny screen for a while. You were a big screen. A star.
Oh wait, are you recording in like speaker view or gallery view?
What's the one where initially I was recording at speaker view where I was the small screen and you're the big screen. Now I'm recording it where we're both next to each other, which is how we want
gallery view. Delightful. All right, so if you're watching on YouTube, welcome back to our standard format.
You got a little sneak peek of the unstandard format.
Yeah. Okay, so there is something I wanted to ask you about. Is that I remember last week you were talking about like a brief crush you had on a boy in school or like some, and so this might be a really stupid question, but at what point did you realize that you were gay?
Okay, interesting question. Not stupid. I think that so in high school I definitely thought I was bisexual because in 7th grade I had my first crush on a girl. Her name was Elena, and we went to summer camp together, and she made me watch Dane Cook's entire special, and I had to sit there and pretend I thought it was funny because that's how big of a crush I had.
Oh my god.
And then after that I was kind of like, well, let's table that for another day, because I just didn't really, I wasn't against gay people growing up in New York. I just didn't really perceive myself as being one. And then in 9th grade I had like a really big crush on my best friend at the time, who I'm still close friends with now. She's amazing. But I was like, okay, well, this is definitely something. Like, this is something I can no longer ignore. But then in high school, I had crushes on boys and I had crushes on girls. And it wasn't till I tried dating a boy in college, like long term, where I was kind of like, well, I don't think this is really all that physically sustainable for me. Like, it's weird because I could do the sex part, but it was like the kissing and the intimacy that didn't vibe with me with a man. There is like kind of a terminology for it. You could call yourself like hetero romantic or homo romantic and bisexual, and I think that's kind of me because I kind of can sleep with men, but just hearing about their fucking issues like doesn't do it for me. Men have all the
just talking about ball sweat and shit, like
not even that. It's just men pretend not to be sensitive, and then they're the most sensitive people on the planet. I'm sure that you feel this way about yourself. Like, I'm sure you feel like a sensitive person, but there's also that
absolutely, yeah,
masculinity element that's like, okay, well, we better bottle this up, and then it comes out in weird ways.
I will say, for all of the complaints I have about my dad, is that something he did very well that I will always give him credit for is that he always made it possible for me to talk to him about something that was giving me any kind of issue I had. He always made welcome to talk about, and he always tried to go, all right, I see how you're feeling that way, I understand why you, and he would always try to like validate or just he always made me feel like an individual. He always made me feel like a person with any that was something he did always very well, honestly, in a way that sometimes my mom didn't do very well. Because like I remember there was a time when I think I was like 13, where my mom just got a digital camera. And I was sitting on the couch in just like pajama pants, and I was shirtless. I was just hanging out. And my mom was just testing out her camera, and she took some photos of me. And then, like years later, I think when I was 16, she started sending out photos, and some of them were these photos. And I was like, I don't want you to do that. And she's like, why not? I was like, I don't want you to send these photos of me around. I know you were just like testing your camera, but I'm not comfortable with this. And my mom said, it's my camera, my photos. I'll do whatever I want with them.
No,
And I was like,
no.
Mom, that's not okay. And my dad actually stepped in. He was like, Lucas deserves to have say, if he doesn't consent to this, like, I don't think you should send around these photos. These are
Wow.
photos of him and his body. He should have a say in it. And I was like, thank you. And and the thing is, like, I love my mom. I hope no one listening or watching gets a bit like, my mom is an overwhelmingly great parent, but there were little, the thing is, like, I always thought that my mom saw me more as her kid and my dad saw me more as just a person,
Mm,
which has its benefits and pros and cons for both, I think. But
yeah.
it was something I was very aware of growing up, is just like how I felt more comfortable talking about my parents about different stuff.
Yeah, that's super fair. I think that there are a lot of ways that my relationship with my parents is like that as well, because my mom definitely feels more, I don't want to say control, but definitely she likes the part of the relationship that is like the mothering element. And as
Mm,
beautiful as that can be, it also sometimes, especially as you're growing up, becoming a teenager, you don't need someone to give you advice. Like, you need someone to just kind of sit there and listen and be like, okay, well, I can see why you're feeling that way. And I even
yeah.
struggle with that now with my friends, because my friends will come to me with an issue and I'll try and fix it. And they're like, there's no way to fix this. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to
Yeah.
hear me out. And that's something
That, if I
is,
could say, that's also a big thing that's different between like male relationships and female, like, very, like, I think it's, I something I hear so often is like, um in heterosexual relationships, the idea of like a boyfriend trying to fix their girlfriend's issues and the girlfriend just wanting to just have someone go, I hear you, I understand how you feel
well,
that
that's
way.
not just a straight thing, because my girlfriend and I deal with that all the time.
Oh,
Where
please tell me.
well, I'm just the fixer. I'm just like, okay, like, you have this problem, let me like buy you this thing, or let me get you this. And she's just like,
Right.
can't you just sit there and like hear what I'm saying to you for 5 seconds? And then I
That's
get
amazing.
mad because I'm like, oh my God, but I just want to help so badly. Like, look at me, this big saint helping. And it turns out what I'm actually doing is the opposite of helping. I'm like making everything a lot worse.
Whoa. I
That's
have
how
never
it is.
heard that. I have I've never heard that from I've this is so fascinating to me. Oh my God.
But
Wait,
it's not the
so
worst issue to have, because it's like ultimately
no.
comes from a good place. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think.
ultimately you care, and that's just how you express it. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way it's not like there's some issues that are so irreparable. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
someone, like when I was with my ex, like one thing that was just super weird was she just wanted to go on trips all the time because she hated New York. And I like going on trips. I like traveling, but we'd get back from a trip, she'd be talking about the next trip. I'd be like, can you just sit here and exist
Yeah.
for a moment? And it's like, that is something that's like, two people have a totally different perspective and neither are wrong. And that's the tragedy
Mm.
of it, is like, I was
Yeah.
like, I want to sit and be comfortable for a moment, and that's right. And she was like, I want to explore and have adventures and be outside in other places, and that's also right. But those two things contrast with each other. Whereas the
Totally.
issue I was describing with Sylvie is more like fixable, because that's just me being like, okay, well, let me listen instead of trying to fix. And then that's also her being like, let me understand that Gabby's just trying to help, and just, politely explain, like, thanks, but I just want to be heard right now. And that's super fixable.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, no, I there's someone I know, a TikToker I know who I've connected with, that she sorry about that, just had some audio issues and now we're back. So, as I was saying, there's someone I've connected with recently who her idea, like her ideal retirement is to just sell away any property she has and to just go traveling for her
What
retirement.
property? Who owns property right now?
I don't know. This is just no. She's just like talking about, but like that is absolutely.
Must be in Oklahoma or something. People in New York don't own property. We didn't even know what the homeowners association was last week.
Oh my god!
You have no idea how many times I got clowned on by friends who listened into the podcast being like, Gabby, the homeowners association is a real fucking thing. And I was like, no, it's not. There's no way. But go on, sorry.
No, yeah. And so my friend, she talks about how like she just wants to like travel forever, basically. And that is totally, I just thought of myself in that position. I thought I would really not like I definitely want to travel. There are set places in my mind that I would love to travel to. I'd love to go to like New Zealand and the Amalfi Coast in Italy and Japan and stuff. There are a lot of places that I would love to go to, but I don't want to travel just for like the sake of traveling. I want to go because there's a specific place I want to go to. And like otherwise, my ideal like retirement would be having a very quiet home life and having a garden. That's my goal, is that I really want a garden.
Tell me about that.
I just really want to grow vegetables, and I just really want to grow vegetables. I do. I just know I would find it really therapeutic and enjoyable. The idea of having a garden and just like a stable just home. I like to be planted in one place.
Like a garden.
Yes, I do. Like a garden. Like a vegetable.
That makes me so happy, Lucas. And I agree. I think there is a way in which you can be running away from something by traveling.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to like judge. I think there's definitely like merit with just the idea of, you know, just enjoying travel, but I just know that wasn't me. And I just thought, ooh, I would not like that in your position.
Did I ever tell you about, there's this video I watched? It was a real YouTube video, but it almost felt like an SNL skit about this woman who traveled to every country by herself.
Whoa. No.
So it starts out and she's like, oh yeah, I wanted to travel. Like I wanted to see the world. She's like, I love this part of Europe. I love Tuscany. I loved yada yada, Japan, like, you know, different places. And then slowly it just gradually starts building where she's like, I'd never been in a war-torn country, but when I got to Syria, everyone was so nice to me. And then the next step is, I was a little scared to go to North Korea, but it was all fine.
Oh my God.
And then at the end of the video, she's like, I think the moral of the story is that it's fine to travel as a woman. And I'm like, girl, that is not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is you went to North Korea. That's the moral of that story.
Oh my God.
She was white, unsurprisingly.
Oh, okay. I don't know why.
Doesn't that make all the world?
For some reason, I had this image because I saw this picture of, from the 30s, it was a black woman on a motorcycle who just drove all the way across the U.S. And for some reason, I was imagining her in North Korea. I was like, that's not it.
Well, that's cool. I don't know. She could do whatever she wants. I don't care. But this white bitch being like, I just went to North Korea for fun. Like, shut up.
Yeah, a black woman like on a motorcycle driving through North Korea. That sounds like a metal album cover. I really like that.
I'd watch that movie. I'd watch that movie. Sure.
That's awesome.
We should make that movie. Someone else should make that movie. Ooh. But I would watch it.
We're putting out the call. Make that movie. National Lampoon. No. You
know those tweets that are like, yeah, Shakespeare wrote King Lear in quarantine. Like, this is somebody's...
Oh, I've not seen those. No, I haven't seen those.
Oh, really? It was like maybe not in quarantine, but it was some kind of crazy, like, they had to go on lockdown for some reason, and Shakespeare wrote, like, King Lear, and people just memed about it for a couple of days. Like, people would put, like, a crazy sandwich they made and be like, this was my King Lear.
This is my King Lear.
Oh, this is our King Lear. Like,
okay, wait. There is another thing I wanted to ask you. What would you say was your sexual awakening? Because you mentioned a crush on what's her face from iCarly. What was it?
Oh, Sam.
Jeanette McCurdy. Yeah. So, would you say that was your sexual awakening?
I've been curious to ask you this same question too. Actually, that was not my sexual awakening. I would say I was pretty sexually asleep for a long time because I would have these little crushes and I'd be like, I wonder why I like watching this person so much. Let me just table this for another time.
We'll
I
circle
think
back
my
later.
sexual yeah, what do they say in emails? We'll circle back, but then there's another one. It's like oh my god, what do they say in emails jargon?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been in many of those like emails or like Slack chains or anything like that.
I'll ping you later.
Yeah,
That's
something like
one.
that, yeah.
You have the bandwidth for this? Like, just say time. Just shut up. But I would say my actual sexual awakening didn't involve a celebrity. I was in English class watching a girl do a presentation, and she was just doing her little book report. Like, I was just like, okay, interesting book, Grapes of Wrath or whatever. And then I saw her legs, and I just looked at her legs for like the next 10 minutes.
Oh.
And that was
How
it.
old were you?
Like, oh. I was a late bloomer. I must have been 14,
Whoa.
15. Yeah, what about you? Were you a little younger than that?
Much younger. Much younger. So much younger.
Tell me more, go on.
Like maybe 6. I remember it so vividly. It was did you see The Mask with Jim Carrey, that movie? It wasn't Jim Carrey.
I did. Are you gonna say that? Not that there would be anything wrong with you.
No, but it's not. No, it was Cameron Diaz in the movie.
Oh God. Well, she's a little older than 6. She was grooming.
Yes, she's on notice. No, but like, so when she first comes on into the movie, and there's like a saxophone playing, and like the camera's just panning up her whole body, and she just looks so incredible. Oh my God, she was so hot. And I think it was her first movie, and yet she was just so beautiful. And I was just like 6 years old, and I was just staring. And I remember having this thought very vividly. I looked at her boobs, and I thought, I want my face in between those.
Oh, why is that so endearing when you say
it? And so, no, but here's the thing, is that I thought that, and I thought, I have no idea why. I have no idea what's going to happen when I get there. I just feel like it's the place to be.
But here's a question. Yeah. Do you even know why now? Because I love boobs, but aesthetically, I don't really understand why they're so appealing.
Really? I mean, I don't know what, I just know I like them. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, it's there. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, but so yeah, that was my exact sexual awakening, was I just thought, oh, that's going to be a thing in the future where that's going to occupy a lot of my thoughts. And yeah, that I would say for sure is my sexual awakening.
Yeah. When did you have like a first like crush on a classmate or something?
Oh, similar time, like first grade, a girl in my class. Yeah.
Oh, what happened with you two? Ships in the night?
Oh, no. We did kiss. Yeah. It was yeah, we did.
What a player. Oh, yeah. What was her name? Is she listening?
Oh my God. I hope not. Her name is Emily. Yeah.
Emily, if you're out there,
oh,
don't
Jesus.
do anything. Lucas has a girlfriend.
Oh yeah, no, I actually ran into her a couple years ago at the supermarket.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, both her and her mom. Yeah.
That's really sweet. How's she doing?
She's doing great. She looked great. She's doing awesome. Yeah, no, our families got really... like kind of like got kind of close. Like her family went to like visit us in upstate New York where we had a house like a bunch of times. And yeah. I also no, here's the thing though, in 6th grade when we were 11, she dated my best friend, and I got really jealous, and I did not handle my emotions well at all.
Didn't handle them well. Like, did you like throw a fit or?
Close to it. I became super standoffish to both her and my friend Julian, and I was really bad about it. And then she was like so sweet. She was like, "Hey, I still care about you as a person." I think she gave me like a cupcake, just be like, "Hey, I care about you still." I was like, "Thank you. I've been an asshole. I'm sorry."
Depends on the cupcake, though.
I don't remember what kind it was.
Well, then she didn't care about
fuck
you.
Her.
It must have been that. Emily, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hope you're well.
I had a thought when you were just like oh, like there was a girl in the first grade, like before J.K. Rowling became a terrible TERF, do you remember that people used to meme like there was this woman who grew up poor and was in a terrible relationship, and then she became a billionaire, and that woman was J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yeah.
So anytime there was a mysterious sentence about a woman, people would meme like, and that woman was J.K. Rowling. I had a thought just now when you were like, I had a crush on this girl in the first grade, to be like, and that woman became J.K. Rowling.
My favorite one is like Britney Spears stumbled upon a young boy and like told him to follow his dreams, and that boy grew up to be Barack Obama. Feel old yet? I love those ones so much.
That boy was J.K. Rowling.
There was once a young boy who just wanted to realize his dreams of becoming the first African American president. That young boy grew up to be J.K. Rowling.
Oh my god, what a TERF bitch. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be honest,
for a while, I think it was like a few months ago when like a lot of what she was saying was like first coming to light, and I genuinely thought there might be a chance that we're just really badly misquoting her, and that she's saying that she is, and that I was like, well, maybe there's a chance that she's saying, hey, let's not forget about what like biological sex has on women, and what growing up as a girl and your body and everything and what that does to your psyche and all. I thought she was saying, let's not forget about that. I thought I really just want her to salvage her, basically.
Which is funny because trans people don't forget about that. No. Like they understand, like people understand the importance of the biological sex while still being trans people are not.
No, of course. Killers. But then like I saw like she wrote that book, and then she has like merchandise with like buttons that are just super transphobic, and I was just like, oh no, there's no confusion now.
I didn't know about the merchandise. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That's like, here's my new thing to monetize transphobia, which is crazy because I really believe that even people who were not like necessarily trans advocates before, seeing her and being like, well, this billionaire is a little obsessed, don't you think? Like, I really feel that, like, obviously you and me are like big advocates for the trans community. So like people like in our circle would know, but even people who I know who like have never thought about transition, have had the privilege to never think about trans issues in their lives, are seeing now what's happening with J.K. Rowling and being like, well, you could, pick up a hobby. Like you could learn to knit. Just don't sit there all day and think about like a mystery, trans woman who's gonna kill you in a bathroom, because you're just obsessed with like the most vulnerable population. Exactly. It makes me so mad.
It comes from such a lack of empathy. That's what it really. Yeah. It also, like, I was talking to a friend one time. I think it was just about. It was a trans friend. It was our friend Chris. And I think I was talking about just like what it is to be like non-binary. And I said, basically what I came onto the idea was that basically I'll never understand what it's like not to identify with the gender. That I will never really, but I understand that there are things that I will never understand, but they're still real.
I understand that I'll never understand, but I stand.
Exactly. I'm like bad at explaining myself, women. But you get it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. It's like you could not understand something and still just like not be obsessed with it, especially if you're a billionaire who has power to actually help instead of harm the most vulnerable.
The most bullshit part of it is that it almost feels like she didn't like invent being transgender, but like the idea of like Harry Potter being almost destined to be a Slytherin but choosing to be a Gryffindor and having that be more powerful and getting sorted that way, it's sort of like, no, you understand the concept of the soul reaching for its own identity against forces that say no. You understand what that is. How are you not getting this? Well,
it's like she can, she really could have just secured her bag. She could have been like, yeah, today is it's 47th anniversary of the hippopotamus spell that Hermione did in the 16th house of Chamber O'Clock. But I don't fucking know. did not. I read like some of those books, but I just couldn't really.
Oh, they're so good.
Get into it.
If
I was a Twilight
fan.
You
were a Twilight fan? I never got. I remember the only time I saw Twilight was in 8th grade on a bus over to a water park.
Wow. Which Twilight?
It was the first one.
There's a few. Okay.
Yeah.
Think.
It was okay, I guess. I mean, I wasn't really watching. I was just sort of like half paying attention. I didn't really think about it.
I recommend watching them.
Yeah.
I
had someone tell me that my baby picture looked like Bella's child, and I was so offended because I looked it up. I was like, how fucking dare you? I was adorable, and this is a monster.
I told you look like Renesmee. That's who's a friend? Dump them as a friend.
Oh no, it wasn't a friend. It was someone on TikTok. They're dead to me. I've killed them in my mind.
Oh God. And that person was J.K. Rowling.
Oh my God! Oh no!
Oh, and on that note, should we read a couple of the
yes,
responses?
Indeed. Let's do that.
Okay, someone just wrote, "I followed you."
Oh, cool. That's nice.
Thanks. Someone else wrote, "Talk about Boston, the Beatles, and avoid politics."
No, thank you.
Let's see. My weirdest phobia is ornithophobia, which is a fear of birds. There were 3 incidents before the age of 10, 2 of which involved very close proximity to a peacock. I was about 6 and we went to a wildlife park. I went down a slide in the playground and waiting for me at the bottom was a giant blue peacock with all its feathers out. It squawked in my face and I ran away in tears as I had already been made to be afraid of birds from the age of 3. The other incident I believe was intended to be a form of exposure therapy on behalf of my parents because they took me to a petting zoo of sorts where all the birds were allowed to roam free. We were in the gift shop and a giant white peacock blocked the exit and I had to beg the staff to let me leave the zoo through the entrance because I was that terrified. To this day, I avoid anything bigger than a pigeon and even those can trigger me sometimes.
Oh my God. Okay, first off, that is a well-founded phobia. You had a bad experience and you are right to not want to be around peacocks. Like,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
My mom told me this story that I found really funny, that basically there was a little boy who was very, very afraid of rats. And like the parents were complaining about it. But what happened was that a rat somehow got into the toilet, into like the plumbing, and bit this little boy's butt from inside the toilet, like crawled up and just bit his butt. And basically these parents were told, hey, you don't have a child phobia problem. You have a plumbing problem. This is how a child should respond to a stimulus. Stop spending money on psychology for your child. You need to invest in a good plumber and a filter that filters out rats, basically.
That's so true. And I also think in response to like things like this post specifically, if this person said, I have a fear of like airplanes, which, that's not really in commission right now, but obviously at some point we will all need to fly again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, well, maybe there's some kind of exposure therapy you could do, whatever, but there's no reason this person has to, get over their fear of peacocks tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's just not gonna come up.
Yeah, that's okay.
Soon. Maybe, but as this person says, usually not.
Yeah, no, that you can get away with having a fear of peacocks. It's not, if you had like a phobia of the subway or a phobia of pizza, you're gonna have some trouble getting around New York because that's around every corner. Like that's a.
Yeah, or Starbucks.
Oh yeah,
fear of Starbucks,
especially in Washington State, because apparently they're at every single block corner in Washington State.
I believe that's true. What about Tim Hortons? That's just in Canada,
Tim Hortons.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. A phobia of Tim. Wait, did we talk about last week about like Oh no, wait, no. But did you see the video of a woman in Tim Hortons like shitting in her hand and then throwing it at the wall?
I can't say I had the absolute pleasure of seeing that. No.
You are missing out. It is
I had the delight of seeing that Grace Night timeline.
It is, yeah. It's a doozy. It's good.
Is she able to shit on the spot at Tim Hortons?
Right then and there.
Why did no one stop her? Why did no one go? This feels like when Trump is like, I'm not going to leave office. And God. Chuck Schumer tweets something like, well, someone should do something about this. Like, this woman is there shitting in her hand, and like, these people are not doing anything to stop her. Not to blame the victims. I'm not trying to blame the victims. No, of course not. But what I am saying, like, maybe if you see someone shitting in their hands, you could be like, ma'am, I'm gonna like force you to leave the store before you throw poop at my head.
Or you call up Jackass, because shitting on command is a marketable skill.
So true. Yeah. Oh my God.
I think it's Johnny England is the guy in the group who can just shit on command, and that is a rare skill. So like don't waste that talent, basically. Call up the right people.
Would you say Jackass was formative for your childhood?
Oh, definitely. Wait, what would you say is like the most like comedic like a really formative experience for you? Or maybe not comedic, but SpongeBob? Okay.
SpongeBob, for sure. SpongeBob, and that's the one I think of where I'm like, that's where I got my entire sense of humor. I think a lot of people our age share that, but I think the second one is, I recently rewatched the movie School of Rock, and I was like, oh, this is also entirely how I learned
School of Rock is an underrated film. It's brilliant. Extraordinary. It is so good.
Yeah. What about you? For me, would you say Jackass?
Jackass was one. That was a little bit later on, though. I would say for me, like, really formative was Monty Python and Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, for sure.
Those were huge parts of my childhood. And I never understood a lot of the stuff in Monty Python, but it was just like the rhythm of it. And then I would like memorize sketches, and my mom would love it if I like just recited them, basically.
My mom used to clown on me with the one more mint sketch, because I'd eat a lot as a kid. And you know the one where the super fat guy?
Oh yeah, Mr. Like Creosote. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. One more mint with a thin mint.
It's only a little wafer thin mint. Yeah. I can't eat anymore. I'm absolutely stuffed. Yeah, that dude.
That was impressive. You impress me every time with those.
Thanks. Should we do another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You read. I can't find them right now.
Okay. Let me see. So, redacted. Oh, it's going to get complicated. I'm going to call this person Alyssa. Okay. So, Alyssa thinks I killed their hamster. I, however, have no memory of killing Alyssa's hamster, but I also have no memory of not killing Alyssa's hamster. Alyssa now hates me, but we constantly see each other, and every time we see each other, we just kind of stare at each other.
Oh my. Okay, I need to know why Alyssa is convinced that name redacted killed the hamster. Like, what is...
You remember killed a hamster, right?
Say that again, sorry?
You'd remember if you killed a hamster,
yeah, but
right?
This person also said they don't remember not killing the hamster. I don't even know what that means.
But that's like being like, I don't remember if I don't know. I don't remember. Well, there actually is no analogy, because I was going to say, I don't remember if I murdered someone, but I don't remember if I didn't murder someone. Well, obviously, you didn't kill the hamster. I don't know how the hamster died, but it wasn't your fault. You have to give yourself grace.
Yeah. Girl. It's like, well, there's someone called Bertrand Russell who said that, like, he can't, basically he said, like, the existence of God is like tantamount to saying, like, imagine there's a flying teapot that orbits a planet in such a way that our systems of measurement can't detect it. And he said, you can't prove that it exists, but you can't also prove that it doesn't exist. And basically you can make that argument about anything. But if you know you didn't kill it, then that's it. You didn't kill the hamster. Unless you have like really bad memory and you have like blackout periods like the Hulk, and you have like wreckage around you, and your clothes are torn or something. Unless that happens a lot, then I would say you can probably trust your memory.
I do think the only alternative that this could be is that this person wrote in, but they didn't want to, and they did kill a hamster.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to admit they killed it. So they wrote in, I don't remember if I killed this hamster. And what they wanted was reassurance from us, the meerkats, being like, if you killed the hamster, that's okay. But the fact is, I'm not going to tell you that. If you killed a hamster, like, fuck you. But if you didn't kill a hamster, fuck that other person.
Yeah. I got nothing to add. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, we cracked that mystery. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I recently moved into a suite style dorm at college. It's me, bisexual, non-binary, and 3 other queer girls and non-binary girls. Awesome. Or non-binary people.
So how many people total?
4 people total. Okay. So about 2 weeks into living together, I have developed a major crush on one of my roommates. Let's call her Sarah. Okay. We spend more time together than with our other roommates, and I don't know if it's an actual crush or an OMG, I have a good friend, can friends make out kind of thing. But anyway, I told my other roommate, let's call them Jen, again, not their name, that I have a crush on Sarah without naming her, and now Jen thinks I have a crush on them and will not believe me when I say I'm crushing on Sarah. It's a very frustrating experience all around because I'm awkwardly flirting with Sarah, but Jen thinks I'm flirting with them.
Oh God, this is juicy drama.
Yeah, Lucas, what do you think?
Oh God. Well, this is general. If it's your roommate, if it's someone you're living with, it's just not a good idea to try to pursue them. Like if drama is also already building between another person that you didn't intend, like, I don't know, just the idea of like pursuing someone that you live with, I wouldn't say like you shouldn't do it full stop, but it's very, very risky. What's your reaction? What's your gut reaction?
Well, the thing is that they're in college, so that's not the kind of thing where it's like I moved into this apartment with these people and I want my home to be a space of peace and serenity.
Right.
College students want and seek chaos in a positive way.
Okay.
Chaos. And I think that if you fall in love with your college roommate, especially if you're in quarantine, which it sounds like they have to quarantine with just each other. Yeah. I think by all means they should pursue each other. I think the problem interaction in here is this is a non-binary person, their interaction with Jen.
Yes.
Because Jen is sitting there being like,
is just totally misreading the signals and thinking it's towards them, Jen.
But it's because how do you convince someone who's convinced of something else? Like Jen is convinced that, oh, like you have a crush on me, but you're just not telling me. That is delusional, because wouldn't you just, if they had a crush on you, they'd just be like, I have a huge crush on you.
Here's another idea. So the person writing in, name redacted, maybe this person is totally mistaken and Jen is not interested, and this person who's writing in is totally misreading Jen signals. That is a possibility.
Sorry, wait, say that one more time.
So Jen thinks that the person who wrote into us is flirting with them, correct? That's what it has seemed. Maybe
Jen thinks the writer is flirting with them.
How is the writer sure of this, though? Is it possible that the writer has totally misread these signals?
From what I perceived in the write-in, I think that Jen was like, if it's me, you can tell me. And, or like, oh my God, that's so cute that you have a crush on me. Ha ha.
I see.
But this being like, no, it's this other person, but Jen is now completely convinced and will tweet another way.
So if Jen, be upfront with Jen, then I would say just be upfront, being like, I really like you as a person. I'm not interested in you in that way. I apologize if I've given signals to anything other.
I also think, though, like if this person writing in is saying that to Jen, Jen may just not be convinced, and I would say to the writer, then you just have to be okay with someone thinking whatever bullshit they want to think that makes them sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like I had a friend in college who I had like a college friend group of maybe like 7 people, and I still talk to like about 3 of them. There was one girl who we were all at a party together, and I was really drunk, and I'm very like touchy-feely when I'm drunk. And I went up to go hug my friend, and she was like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. Like, I don't swing that way. Like, but don't worry. Like, lots of other girls will love you." And I just kind of didn't know what, I like froze up. I like didn't know what to say, because the fact of the matter was the girl who I went up to hug was probably the person in the friend group who I thought was the least attractive to me, and like, also I like had never had any kind of a crush on or affinity for in my entire life. And I probably would have made out with every single one of my other female friends except for her.
Wow.
And was the only one who was convinced that I was secretly in love with her. And you just cannot convince a narcissist of something. Like, if she wants to, she probably believes to this day that I was massively in love with her and wouldn't say
I know
anything.
exactly the type.
I'm not going to be like, you know, I was never in love with you, like because like she'll just be like, oh, she's denying it. Like, it's just, at some point it's for you, it's not, you know, for
There was
me.
someone who I went to college with who we were all a very tight-knit group of friends, and she was also quite narcissistic, believed that everyone was in love with her. Basic same story. And we had to cut her out. It was getting very toxic. But like what you said, it reminded me of a party I was at. Thing is, like, what was your major in college again?
I was a creative writing and sociology major.
Okay.
Double major.
So, you know, I was a theater major, and I went to a lot of like theater major parties, and you just end up like kissing everyone. Didn't matter like gender or anything. It was just like, not even in a romantic way. It was just like, get over here, and you just like kiss them, and like, and
yeah, of course. Pre-COVID times.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-COVID times, yeah. And I remember I was at a party, and we were all sort of like lying across each other on a couch, and there was this girl who just started playing with my hair, and just like in a very, not in like I'm a friend, like I'm gonna scratch your head, but it was a very just sort of like gripping a little bit, and I had to, and I could tell that at least I think that she was flirting with me. I'm pretty sure though, and I had to say, please stop. I just like turned. I was just like, no, thank you. No. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I was like, it's okay. Just no, thank you. Yeah, I remember that happened like once or twice. And it was always it started with playing with my hair. 2 different people, but it always started with playing with my hair, and that was like my.
You have great hair. That's why.
You are welcome to scratch it anytime you want with the yes.
With the mask on.
Exactly. Like, or just like one of those like little claws, and just like, oh, I can't feel it, but I can tell it's soft.
I'll put a little what do they call it? A forklift on my hand and just Captain Hook it to your head.
The claw, yeah.
The claw. Okay, someone else says a couple weeks ago, in my school, our little section of the school was held after our lunch period, roughly 250 people. Well, that doesn't sound safe. And a security guard came in to watch, and some sporty kids immediately started chucking tater tots at each other, trying to agitate him, but he wasn't gonna get mad. No. They actually wrote that in. So he, roughly a 40-year-old man, picks up one of my friend's side of tater tots and starts throwing them at the back towards the kids. And one of them nailed a lunch lady in the face. Actually started a food fight with a security guard.
Whoa. I just want the video of this to watch.
I was gonna say that only happens in movies. I feel like I can't believe that's real.
Oh my god. This sounds like something out of Max Keebler's Big Move, you know? You remember that?
Of course I do. Great movie.
So good. Oh my god. I have no notes. I'm just happy that person wrote in to tell us. No, that's perfect.
No notes, yeah, same. But I do have a great one queued up right now. Let me tell you the story of my family's almost incest.
Oh my God. Do it.
It all started in the early 1960s. It always does. In a small town in Western Australia. It actually says early 60s, so I don't know if that's 18 or 1960s.
I'm aroused already. Go on.
I'm wet. My grandmother is the eldest of 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. Or sorry, 5 girls and 2 boys. I can't read today. One of the boys, who I'll call James for the sake of this, was about 5 years younger than my grandma. So he was about 15 or 16 when this all happened. They all lived in a farm in a really rural area. You know, the kind where your kids could be gone for days and it wouldn't matter because there was nobody in this town. And their closest neighbors were this other family down the road. They had a daughter who we'll call Shelly, who was around the same age as James, like about a year younger. Well, one day that family, along with Shelly, just picked up and moved, basically with no warning. Years go by, James gets married to a lovely woman and has a couple kids. All my grandma's siblings have tons of kids. We're a huge family, and my great aunt has some daughters who were of marrying age. One of them,
I love that phrase.
New name Sam. Very Louisa May Alcott, marrying age. One of them, new name Sandy, met a guy when she was on holiday in England, and they did long distance for a while, but eventually he moved over here and they got engaged soon after. I reckon you can tell where this is going. We all met him at this big dinner and asked questions about him. We're all really close family, so it was important to get everyone's approval. While he was talking about his family, he told a story of how his mom and grandparents used to live really close, but moved for work to England. And he never met his dad. He showed around a picture of him and his mom. And when I tell you, James's face was white. He pulled the fiance aside for a conversation. And then not long after that dinner, they broke up and he moved back. Now, like 10 years later, me and a few cousins asked whatever happened to him to a few of our older family who were able to remember it better. And that's when they tell us the drama. James got Shelly pregnant, and in those days you had to get married if you had an accident. So that was the plan, but my great-grandfather had beef with Shelly's father, so the whole thing got called off really quickly. The family moved to England to hide the shame and whatnot. She had a son who just so happened to meet his cousin and become engaged to her.
Oh my God.
When I tell you they dodged a bullet, it would be an understatement.
Oh my God. This is. Do you watch Law and Order SVU? Because something very.
Sometimes at the laundromat, mainly.
There is a plot point of these 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl. They were dating. The girl died, and she was pregnant at the time of death. And they noticed that the child had 60-something% shared DNA with the mother, the teenage girl who died. And they thought that it was either her brother or her dad that impregnated her, but they tested, but neither of them were the father, and they realized that the only solution was that it was the boyfriend, and they found out that the boyfriend and her were half siblings. And so you see this poor dude, this poor teenage boy, realize that his girlfriend, who's now dead, was pregnant at the time with his child, and that it was his half-sister. And then the episode ends with him meeting his half-brother, who is his girlfriend's brother, and just being like, all right, let's get to know each other. It's funny in my mind, but it's so gnarly. Oh my God, oh my God.
You know that genetically, I've never understood how incest actually stands, because genetically, your breath smells worse to your siblings.
Yes, I've heard this. And that's a good way of keeping, you smell, people you're related to apparently will smell worse as an enticement to not have sex with them and reproduce with them.
Well, that's what's crazy. I was self-conscious about my breath for so long because my sister used to tell me oh, your breath is so bad. Your breath is so bad. And I was I would kiss girlfriends and they'd be like, your breath's fine. What do you want about? It's just oh, nothing. I just didn't commit incest with my sister.
Oh my God.
Well, that's not what I'd say. But
Oh yeah, no. Well, I'm an only child, so I missed out on a lot of that sort of psychological warfare that I think a lot of siblings have. So I just never.
Would you have wanted to have a sibling?
I sometimes think about it. I I don't regret my childhood, but I sometimes wonder if I would have been socialized differently. Because if you're an only child, you spend a lot of time with adults, and I think it like warps a little bit of how you socialize with people. I think I would have been a little less awkward, especially as a teenager, if I had siblings. I do think that sometimes.
See that. I think that there is a lot of, I have a lot of friends who are only children. There's a lot of like, not only you spend time with adults, but you spend time playing alone.
Yes.
A lot. So it's just like, you create these worlds in your head, you know?
Apparently that's what happened to Robin Williams. He was an only child, and that he spent just like a lot of time with his own imagination, and that like was what spurred a lot of his creativity. So like there's positives to it as well. Yeah, I mean there's like positives and negatives to anything, but I know that if and when I have kids, I think I would prefer to have more than one. I think I would want my child to have a sibling.
Yeah, having a sibling is inarguably pretty great. I mean, my sister and I have always gotten along really well,
good.
and like it's like I still, because I'm the older one, I still have that protective part of myself over her. But in a way, she's also like my friend.
That's good.
Which is nice that it's become that way. I mean, it was kind of always that way with us, but it's nice that it's like really that way now, where I could consider her like a friend. We could, you know, it's not like, there's definitely siblings who have more strained relationships. And I'm like, why? Who else are you going to talk about your mom and dad with? Or, you know, mom and mom or whatever.
No, that's very sweet.
Should I read another?
Please.
Okay, this one was my favorite.
I'm trying to do like the Google Drive, and I can't seem to find them for some reason.
Do you want me to send a link in the chat? I could have just done that before, but I forgot.
Okay. Just go ahead.
I have a big phobia / intolerance of slime and gelatinous textures, specifically semen. The mere notion of it makes me shudder uncontrollably and absolutely ruins my day. I can't even look at it without gagging, and I don't know how I'm going to have successful romantic relationships with men in the future because of this.
This is one I remember reading beforehand. This is the one, I think you sent it to me like when we got it, and I just thought, oh, I can't wait to get to this one. Oh my God. So, what has been, do you have any experience with semen, with jizz?
I do.
Did it gross you out at all? Or no?
It didn't. It was, what I think about semen, it's very incongruous
when you
for
think
the situation.
About semen.
When, yeah, which is all the time, obviously.
2:30 p.m. on the dot every day. That's when you...
Almost 2:30, almost my semen time. I'll have to hang up. It's like an orgasm is this like wonderful, like mind clearing, like, you know, you can't move for a while after. And then what comes out of you is this just very neutral liquid that just looks like a medical procedure.
Yeah.
I always thought those two happenings, like the bodily joy of an orgasm and the like spray of gross liquid, were just like, I don't think I have a value judgment of like, this is bad or ugly, but it's just kind of like, you know, it just doesn't make sense together.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you grossed out by yourself?
No, but...
Not just by your own.
I can't look in a mirror. It's just disgusting every time I look at it. Oh, that face. Oh, yeah. It's interesting. When I was in high school, I had a conversation with my friends Josh and Maya. And my friend Maya just like very casually mentioned like tasting her own cum, essentially. And me and my friend Josh were just like, ugh. And because we were imagining our own jizz. And she was like, wait, you guys haven't tasted your own jizz? And we were like, nope. She was like, seriously? You must. We were like, no, that is not something guys typically do. And she was like, and that was like a big, like when we realized, oh, we really have different relationships to our genitals, basically. And I'm definitely, it's definitely, I think for guys, it's just like clean up as fast as possible. Get rid of it. It's just like.
So you haven't tasted it since?
I've never tasted my own jizz.
Interesting.
Have you tasted like your own like fluids?
Like, of course. Well, because it's just like, you know, it's not a it doesn't produce the same level of like what this person is talking about with like the Gillette. Like, that's true. Like I understand having a fear of it because it's just very present.
Yeah.
Like the vagina doesn't smell bad.
No.
It smells, I would say it's like expired candy.
I would say, oh my, this is a window into my mind, but I remember tasting a vagina for the first time and I thought it has a little bit of the funk of kimchi, but I liked it.
Interesting.
Like it sort of, it had like a funk. It tasted the way a saxophone sounds to me.
I don't know why, but I heard Careless Whisper in my head just now.
No, wait, did you hear what I said?
It tasted the way a saxophone sounds. Yeah. What did you say after
I
that?
thought you didn't hear me. I thought I like cut out. Okay, good. No. But yeah, so that was what, and so yeah, I'm a fan of the flavor. Yeah.
Yeah. But with the semen thing, I think the second part of this phobia is worth
the texture.
Like, I'm afraid, well, not just that, but like her genuine fear of having like romantic relationships with men. And my thought around it is like, I don't know if you agree with this, but like if someone who you're with is like afraid of something that you directly produce, like you just kind of have to be like funny and good natured about it to help them get through it, because there is no way to have sex with a male bodied person. It could anyone with a penis without experiencing that. And it's like you just have to be kind of funny about it and like find a way to get this person through the phobia. Like being a jerk about it is not going to. So what I would say to this person probably is like find someone who's willing to like playfully make fun of you about it, but also make sure you get through it okay.
Another thing is that I'm not sure if like she's thinking about like potential like blowjobs and being scared about like that, like coming in contact with your mouth. And it's something I don't think gets talked about enough, is that there's so much more sexual variability among like men and male-bodied people, more than we give credit to. Like I remember having so many conversations with guys in like high school and college, and we were just talking to a number of guys I've met really didn't like the feeling of blowjobs, didn't like the feeling of hand, like that was just something they didn't enjoy. And so I think it's possible, maybe unlikely, but it is possible that this person who wrote in might find a guy who is not interested in blow, if that's maybe what you're afraid of, especially about like coming in contact with your mouth. Like it is possible you could find someone that's just not your thing, and then you would probably experience semen less. And then otherwise, if you find someone that you really, really care about and you want to try to get over your fear, just like communicate about it. And if they're understanding, they'll help you through it and they'll be patient. And so I would say, like, if it's something you really don't like and you can't change, then it's very possible to find someone who can accommodate that, whose priorities suit that. And if you want to get past it, then you definitely owe it to yourself, and I think can find someone who is patient enough to help get you through that.
That's a really good point. Like the sexual variability thing. I didn't even think about that.
Totally.
I think we all got so corrupted by like American Pie, this idea that like stick your dick in anything and it feels good. And it's like, no, men like sexual variety as much as women, or sorry, female bodied people do. And it's you just have to like, I don't know, like not everything is porn. Like if you don't find the guy who desperately wants to, come on your boobs and I don't know, make a smiley face about it.
Write their name on your boobs.
Listen, if you find a guy who doesn't want to, create a design of hearts and flowers on your boobs with you're gonna be fine.
I don't know if you saw this. Did you see Whitney Cummings' special? Most recent one where
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, she creates she orders a sex robot that looks a lot like her, and she names it Bear Claw. But she has this whole series of videos going into the factory where they make these, and she said and I really enjoyed her description of it because it was just really encouraging, because they make so many different kinds of custom sex robots for people, and basically she learned that there was so much more desired features than she thought. Because like, it's a pretty common experience, like, you judge your own body, women especially, like, you know, the size of your body, size of your nipples, your hips, your vagina, lips, there's an infinite ways you can like try to judge yourself. But she went to this factory and realized that there was so many different preferences of like body shape, of body hair, of and she said like there were so many different kinds of nipples that you could just order for your sex robot. And she was like, apparently the most common one are like really big dark areolas and large nipples. And she was like that, and she was like so surprised to learn that, because she thought that every guy liked small tiny petite nipple, or like petite figures and everything. And basically there's just so much more, there's so much more sexual variability, so much varied preferences, what people. And so yeah, I think it's a very healthy and encouraging thing to remind yourself. And that goes to anyone else who, like, maybe anyone who says, like, oh, there's no one for me. There's a lot more possibility. Maybe not, like, certain, but there's so much more possibility than I think we give ourselves and the human race credit for.
Yeah, that's a really eloquent point. And it's like, again, I think, like, so many societal messages we receive like warp our minds into thinking like people only like it this way or that way. And it's just like, and then we have this other crazy idea that like, oh, you could just go on the internet and find any kind of old thing that you like, but it's actually like not really true. You can find categories of something that might peripherally interest you, but you can't find the specific thing you like that has to be found in another person. And also, you can't like curate things super well either. Like, no one can be like, well, you can't sex robot a person. You can't be like, I want this kind of nipple and this kind of stomach. Like, you do have to like just obviously get to know the person. But I think in the case of this cum fear, you're right. It's like there is a sexual variability that gets to be discussed. And I also think like if I were like her boyfriend or whatever, and I had like, you know, male genitalia or anyone with male genitalia, like, this is funny, but like I'll never make you have to see this.
I think the most important thing is that you are not under any obligation to touch semen or deal with it. That is something you never should feel you are forced to do or feel like you are obligated to do. That is never the case. And so I think it's like,
you don't have to see a peacock if you don't want to.
I think there might be just a big part of it. I might be imprinting onto this person, but I think it might be the anxiety surrounding semen, the idea that it's something she should like love or enjoy the texture of, or any. I think that it's a lot of like the dialogue around semen or around how she should behave or think about something. I might be imprinting, but I think that's something that exists in a lot of people's minds.
Well, I think we're supposed to be imprinting in this pod because it's like, how are we gonna, you know, we get the limited information we get and then we have to just go off of it, which I do love.
But yeah, so
should we?
Yeah, let's do. No,
sorry, go on.
I'm done. I think. Yeah, let's go on to another one. But if I could say to this person who wrote in, thank you for sharing yourself with us, because I'm sure that was a difficult thing to talk about, and thank you very, very much.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point to say, and also thank you to anyone who shares with us. I know we like make fun and clown around, but there is, I don't know if this is true for you, Lucas. I think it is, but there's a part of me that definitely like I hear this stuff. I'm like, I want to help, you know, and I hope it kind of does 100%. Help.
All right, let's do another one.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to find one we haven't done yet. There's a submission I just saw that says, I can't shower home alone because, oh my God. And it just cuts off.
Did like an intruder walk in right as she was typing that to us?
She was typing it from the shower.
Oh my God. That actually, can I just say
Here's
a
what.
little thing? Is it like something you take a special pleasure in? Because it is something for me, taking a shit at home alone.
Oh no, I love that.
That
Are you kidding
is
me?
a
It's the
niche
best feeling.
joy. That like a shower at home alone is great, but taking a shit, like maybe even having the door wide open and knowing like maybe you don't have anything to do for a couple of hours, and your shit that you're shitting is not going to take a couple hours, but it might, and you could just let it go, and that is a beautiful thing.
The unemployed
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah,
That's my
yeah.
favorite. Um, Hi. So mostly pre-COVID, I was trying to live out my hoe phase that I never had after my first and only serious relationship
Good
ended a
for
year
you.
and a half ago. But jokes on me. Jokes on me. I adopted a dog that makes it impossible from my own place. He is friendly, but he nervously whines, invades people's personal space, and does not deal well with
Oh,
closed doors. I don't want to ban people from my apartment over fear of how they'll react, but I also want to get laid and not die
oh.
alone.
Well,
Help.
this I think is just an issue of training your dog. This is something you just like need to train your dog to get accustomed to having doors closed, to setting up boundaries that are suit you. Remember, you are the pack leader, not this dog. And this dog may have needs, but this I was about to say person, this dog needs to handle their emotions better. And this is just this is an issue of dog training, I think.
You're so right. Sometimes things are just so
Yeah.
simple, aren't they? Like, isn't that amazing? Like, I grew up with a therapist mom, so everything was like, she's a wonderful woman, but there was a lot of like, if I went in the fridge, it was like, well, what are we
Oh my
repressing
god.
today with a snack?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want a fucking snack. You don't know why you want it. You see some childhood comfort that you get out of eating green grapes, but for the most part, you just want to shove something in your mouth
Yeah.
like an animal. And it's like you're right, some things really are
Yeah.
uncomplicated, and the truth is there are dog boarding
Yeah.
places that will take your pup during COVID times, and you can like enroll them in a school for a couple of weeks in
Yeah.
obedience training, and that's
Exactly.
all you need to do.
Another thing is like my mom is a clinical psychologist, but the thing is like I never felt like analyzed or anything like that. That was never my experience. I didn't feel like I was treated as like a brain object. I was never. I didn't feel like she used her profession on me, and I'm always.
You never felt like she took her work
No, I
home?
don't think so. No, I
Wow.
don't think so.
My mom never meant to take her work home, but it just like
Yeah,
sometimes
it
it's
came
just
out
kind
in
of
like
how
the
she
language she used while she was parenting. Right.
definitely. It was a lot of like I learned a lot of kind of super big words early on because she would just talk that
Whoa.
way. Like
Like what?
I well, like I wrote the word ambivalent in a journal in the third
Whoa.
grade, and it was like a journal that third grade teacher wrote, and my third grade teacher hated me for
You
some
had
reason,
big
and she
dick
was like,
energy with your
you made
vocabulary in third grade. Holy shit.
that right. She came up to me and she was like, do you know what this word means? And I was like, yeah. She's like, what does it mean? Like, it's when you're not sure about something. And she was like, and then she just walked
Whoa.
away and didn't even say anything. Right. But she thought my mom was like writing my journals
Oh, I
for
see.
me, but my mom was just in my ear talking to me, and I just like picked up the language she was using.
Whoa. Oh my god. Okay, wait. So back to this person who wants to have their hoe phase, and yeah. So yeah, well, first off, your dog sounds adorable because I like that quality in dogs where they're like very needy and want to be around you. I like that but yeah, so invest in some sort of training for your dog because you deserve to have your hoe phase and enjoy it. And I hope you get back to it a little bit more full force soon. Safely, of
Safely,
course.
of
I
course.
meant like
But
in the near future when like things are healthier or a vaccine or any. Yeah. Basically,
the whole when the
the hoe
whole
vaccine.
vaccine comes
Yes.
out.
Get your hoe vaccines, everyone.
Do you have the link now? Do you want to
I
read one or?
Well, the thing is, like, so I have you on my phone right now, and you sent it. Is it possible for you to send it to me via text by messages? Thank you so
Yes, I can
much,
do that.
because I'd love to
Got you
read
right
one.
now. Um, yeah, I feel bad
No,
that
no,
you
no, no,
haven't
no.
got
That's
to
cool. That's
narrate
cool.
one to me. All right.
Got it.
I sent it. This part will be edited out, or won't it? The viewers will decide.
Okay. Got it. Okie dokie. Okay, here's one. So, there's a person I went on the worst first date I've ever been on, who I only stay in touch with because she'll text me out of the blue with the weirdest things. Cool. After not texting for a few weeks after the first and only date, she texted to ask if I knew where to buy Molly. I don't even know what Molly looks like. Then a few weeks later, to ask if I wanted 40 boxes of tea her office building was getting rid of. Just weird stuff like that. This person is a wild card, and I like it.
Yeah, I think that's the point of going on dates, is not necessarily to meet the love of your life, but to occasionally receive text messages.
Yeah, this is the stuff that you're going to reminisce on later in life, and you're going to be like, that person was crazy. I'm glad I met them, though.
I wonder why it was the worst first date. Do you have any like terrible first date stories?
Maybe. I remember I went on a date at this Indian restaurant, and I could tell like the wavelength wasn't there. Like she seemed like very reserved and timid, which is fine. But like I felt a little, the conversation just wasn't flowing. And I thought, all right, she's nice enough. And we got onto the she was like, oh, I need to go to the train. I was like, well, I do too. She was like, I need to go to the G. I was like, I need to go to the G as well. And I could see something a little bit die in her eyes. She was like, oh, not more moment with this person. And so we got onto the G train, and then she got off at the next stop to be like, I'm going in the wrong direction. I think we lived probably in the right direction, but she was like, I need to get away from this person. So she got off just to like, maybe she didn't go in the opposite direction, but just to like wait for the next G train to just be like, get rid of Lukas. So I remember that. And I respect her for it. I'm totally okay with it. That's fine.
I don't know. I don't think it's fine. Maybe it's just I'm protective of you.
I appreciate it.
You deserve
no, but the thing is, like, she didn't enjoy the date, and that's fine. She's welcome to not enjoy it. But I was not gonna get or remove myself from the train. So if you have a problem with me on the train as well, that's your problem.
You gotta get where you're going. Like,
I'm not gonna inconvenience myself.
I understand.
For you.
Do you think you've ever been like in her shoes on a date where you're like, I need to escape this date
for sure,
really badly?
But I don't think I ever made like a quick escape. There was someone I went on a date with recently. Well, when I say recently, like back in like February or so. And we met at a friend's birthday, and then the week after, she actually asked me out. I felt very pretty. Yeah, no, and when we met at my friend's birthday, like, she seemed really cool. She was beautiful. Like, conversation was flowing. It was awesome. And then on our actual date, like, something just switched off, and this is the thing. She was the most boring, interesting person I've ever met. Like, she had so many good stories of, like, being an au pair in France for a famous writer who got, like, death threats and, like, bags of flaming shit on their doorstep, and she would have to, like, dispose of it for her. Or, like, traveling to Morocco on her own and losing her way and stuff. And she had these, like, really but she had zero storytelling ability. She had no charisma.
But have you ever heard it the opposite way, like an interesting, boring person? Because that's hard.
I would prefer an interesting, like I would rather hear of a really well-told story of you just in your apartment versus like someone like her who she would tell things so dully. It was just so bad. And then and then I got to talking about like comedians, and I asked like who she liked, and then I mentioned like a couple people that I liked. I mentioned Ali Wong, who I really, really like, and she was like, oh, I don't find her funny. And I immediately thought, oh, never can work. If we don't value if we don't value stand-up the same way, and if we don't like at least some of the same comedians, then there's no way. And that's something I try to get to very early on to tell if we're compatible.
Yeah, that's like how me and that Dane Cook girl didn't work out. Also, she was straight. Also, we were 13, but no, I agree. It's like like in Freezing Geeks when Sam finally goes out with the popular girl Cindy, but then he gets all sad because he watches the movie The Jerk and he loves it, and she like doesn't think it's funny. And it makes him so sad. He's like, Cindy doesn't like The Jerk.
Oh my god. All right, should we read another one? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
There's so many good ones, right?
Thank you. Can I just say thank you to all the listeners and watchers who made submissions? Like, you spoil us. You're spoiling us with your submissions. Please do.
Yeah, and keep submitting. These are hilarious.
And for anyone who wants to make a submission, you can go to our Instagram at Two Nosy Meerkats, and in our link tree, you will find a link to our form submission where you'll be able to send us a weird neurosis, a fear, a habit, a good story, anything at all. Gossip
From your life, from someone else's life.
So there you go. Okay, so here's another one. So I made a prop pistol, which is quite large. I posted a video of it on TikTok, thinking little of it. It blew up. I'm currently making a second of the same pistol, but improved. Should I be worried about getting in trouble with TikTok? I mean, I don't know about...
Aren't they going to... Well, we can't advocate for guns on the show, but aren't they going to ban TikTok
I mean,
anyway?
It doesn't sound like the best idea. I mean, like, any kind of craft, like prop design is like a cool thing, but honestly, I got nothing on this one. I just...
I think, well, I also couldn't tell in the phrasing of the question if he meant the video blew up. The video blew viral, up, yes. Or the prop pistol.
No. The pistol didn't blow up. No, the video blew up on TikTok, and yeah, this person I think is like quite rightly worried about like getting in trouble with like depicting a weapon or something like that.
I mean, fair enough. I also have nothing for it because I'm not, the manager of TikTok. In fact, that actually leads to something I wanted to ask you about, which is, so I've been like obsessed with TikTok for a while, but I have no idea how to use it. Like, I'm such a boomer about it. So when do you think was the point where you cracked the code of being like, I'm good at TikTok now?
So something I did, like I've been asked like by a lot of people, like, how do you do it? Something I did was before I started like really posting is I just spent time watching videos to sort of, I'm definitely like an audio learner. I learn by listening to something over and over, and just to like get a meter of like the rhythm of what videos are like, what sort of stuff people are doing, understand like who does what maybe I could do or would like to do. And so I spent time just like getting accustomed to like the language of TikTok, basically. And then you like, something I did that worked very well was the first trend that I sort of hopped on was they're like, bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored in the house, bored. There was like just this song that was like, there was just like someone just like improvising, and that audio was very, very popular. And so I did my own version of that, doing an impression of Obi-Wan Kenobi waiting for something to happen to Luke Skywalker for years. And I just thought, oh yeah, he would have been bored in the house, bored. And so I just did like okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored in the house and I'm in the, and that was the first one that got like a little bit of attention. And then I like capitalized on that, and I did another sort of growing my sort of Star Wars-y audience that I got from that, and doing like another sort of impression of that. And so I would say like take a meter of what is trending, and then if you find success, capitalize on that and try to grow it, and then add something new. And then it's sort of it's sort of like shores running up the beach, where it gets like a little bit further up the beach a little bit, but you start from the beginning. And so you take everything that you've learned at every single step and do it again and add more. That's sort of what I did.
What I do think is crazy about TikTok is that it's not like, it doesn't appear to me at least to be as algorithmic as like Instagram or Twitter, where they kind of like show you the content you typically interact with. Like you could be a person like me with like 20 followers and some random person who you don't know, who isn't even interested in the same things you've been looking at, will follow you. And it's just like, how does this app even work to become like that? Like on Instagram, if you go to the Explore page, if you go to my Explore page, you're going to see cats, you're going to see recipes, and you might see like one meme. But I wouldn't somehow find like a comedian's video who I didn't already know on my Instagram, but you'd find that on TikTok because they're just, and I think that makes for kind of a better
like that
platform.
They send like a few wild cards to sort of like test your preferences and see and go like, oh, maybe this person might be interested in this, like that. I like that as well. But at the same time, there's like there has been found to like be suppression of certain kinds of voices, like queer voices, people of color. There have been suppressions of that on the platform, so that's not quite, and that is very much the algorithm stepping in to say not so much of this, more of this, and like, so yeah, there is that.
Well, that's true on Twitter too. Have you seen those? You'll see a banner of a bunch of different faces crop, like, and Twitter does the automatic crop.
Yes,
and lately what's been happening is they crop in, if there is a banner, you know, vertically of 16 black guys and like one white guy, Twitter crop and show you the white guy, which is so fucking racist and crazy. Jack, what are you doing?
The internet is fun, everyone. The internet is a fun place full of delightful people running everything. Super cool people.
Yeah. If there's anything we want on this pod, it's more billionaires. Just like give us more.
Zuckerberg at me. Them. Yeah.
Zuckerberg daddy.
Senpai. I had so many people commenting on my videos senpai or daddy or stuff like that, and I actually had to like,
what's
I think
senpai?
It's like, I think it might be master or something like that in Japanese or something, and I could be wrong though, but the thing is, like, I started getting it a lot from just one person, and so I didn't block that person, but I did block that word from like being commented under my videos. I was like, I don't like this. I don't want any more of this.
Can I start addressing you as daddy? Daddy Meerkat? All right, Daddy Meerkat, give me your... Oh my god, we could be Daddy and Mommy Meerkat.
Oh my god, Mommy Meerkat, do you want to read another?
Yeah, and then we should probably call it after that, right?
All right, let's finish it up.
Oof, big drama time. Always like when a post starts with that. I'm 27 and have been single for 7 years now. I very recently, literally just this year, found out I'm a pansexual asexual.
Oh,
okay, and really want to branch out. Only problem is my parents are mega conservative Christians, and according to them, I don't exist. Or who I am does, like, my identity. My best friend and my sister know what I identify as and support me 100%, but I feel so trapped and unable to do anything since I live so close and I'm very close with my family. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has this dilemma, but sometimes it certainly feels like it. Well, that's the thing. You're not the only person that has that dilemma, which is absolutely to your advantage, because there is an entire internet community of people just like you who are feeling the same sort of ostracized, and those are the people who you could always reach out to for, you know, it's all over, that stuff's all over Tumblr. There's a huge community of like people who identify as different things who are like, my parents don't support what I am, and then they, you know, meet each other virtually and they're able to talk to each other in a way they can't even talk to their friends or families. So it
forgive
can be
me for
place
interrupting. I just heard pansexual, asexual. I was like, what? I just got very confused. I was like, identify however you want. Do whatever you. But I was just so lost. I was like, are those not opposites? I got very.
I've actually heard of this.
Please
interestingly
explain.
enough, my high school ex started dating someone who kind of identified this way after me. So it's like pansexual, I guess, is like you're attracted to like men, women, non-binary, whatever. But then asexual is you don't necessarily like the sexual element of it, so it's all romance. So it's like,
would it be more pan-romantic?
It can be like hugging. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't necessarily be pansexual. It would like it could be like hugging, cuddling, like just romantically talking. Which I do think is interesting because it's like people will be like, well, if it's not sex, what makes it different?
Oh no. That I totally understand. Yeah, there huge variety of expression. Doesn't matter. Any relationships can look so many different ways. That's okay. Now I think I understand. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. That's why I was saying like you or me maybe don't understand this as well, but like there are definitely people on the internet.
Absolutely. This is an element I would say where the internet really shines in terms of connecting people. This is where the internet really shines, of just like of giving, because it's something imagine like just like being born like 50 years earlier and not having access to like a wider group of people like-minded or like sexuality, and you don't know that anyone else exists who's similar to you. I always think about that and I think, oh my God, even though I'm not part of it, but I think, oh, I'm so glad that I live in a world where you can find like-minded people. It's it makes me so thankful.
Yeah, that would fucking suck. It actually reminds me of there's this quote that came out recently from one of the actors, the child actors who was in the show Pen 15, and his name's Dylan Gage, and he was asked what he felt is the biggest difference between kids in 2000 and kids today, and he answered, I think the craziest thing is just like what they did all day. Like they didn't have YouTube back then. They didn't have memes to share. The video games they had were like Nintendo 64 and stuff. So I genuinely don't know what they did all day.
Oh my God. That is...
Lucas, what did we do all day?
I don't know. No, genuinely, like, well, I was 5 in the year 2000, and like, I don't remember. I remember getting pizza after preschool. I remember that. I remember going to the park, and then... What do you remember?
I played a lot of backyard baseball, and I don't mean I was in the backyard
baseball.
playing baseball.
I remember that.
The game... Oh my God, what's his name? Pablo Sanchez?
Did you ever play
Best
Toontown?
Player ever. Barry Bonds.
I remember my avatar's name. It was Super Bongo Bumper Bumper. Two last names, Bumper and then Bumper. Those were...
What about
What was your... Wait, sorry? I was not on
What about Club Penguin? Oh, damn,
Yeah.
that shit was fun. It was really like a good horny game too, because you can like other people who were playing as penguins. You couldn't say sex. You could add sex, so people would be like, they'd change a letter. It'd be like, we're having a hex party, and that would be a sex party. And then you'd go to a penguin's igloo, and then you'd pretend to be having sex with the penguin by just like running your avatar into another penguin's avatar over and over again. God, 13-year-old Gabby is so riled up.
When I was 10, I got a PlayStation 2 as my first game console. One of the first games I got was Sims 2, and I made them woohoo a lot. I remember that.
I'm so glad we're not children anymore. That shit makes you so horny. Like, those are avatars in the screen.
Do you think we have maybe too much access to like satisfy sexual cravings at a young age? Do you think maybe we have too much access to that? I wonder about like how just having like porn readily available, like what that does to a growing mind.
Sorry, there's a person screaming in the back. Maybe they agree. I don't know if I have that much of an opinion on this because I've never been a big porn watcher.
Well, I'm just an aficionado. No, but like...
I do think there is some level of like imagination that gets lost when you kind of have everything at your fingertips.
I have no idea.
What do you think?
I'm not... First off, did anyone mention I do see porn, but I'm not like all the time. But like,
It's not embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to not watch that much porn because people are like, oh, they do interviews at the end. And I was like,
they do? Oh.
I saw like my comedian friend. Oh my God, yeah. I saw like a set she did where she was like, oh, remember, you know, the interviews they do at the end, and everyone was laughing around me. God. And I was like, the fuck? Like, they do interviews, saying what? Like, you know, politics? I don't know. But I feel more embarrassed to not know a lot.
But the thing is,
porn,
like,
honestly.
I think I'm sure that it's not something that, I don't think people are designed to be like orgasming all the time, like at like multiple times. And I think that, and I don't know what repercussions that has on like a developing mind, a developing person, but it's also that I was very delayed. I didn't start watching porn until I was like 15 maybe. And I knew so many guys that started when they were like 11 or 12, and I was almost afraid of porn at that time. I was just like, because I wasn't like shamed about sex or anything by my parents, but I did feel ashamed about like trying to seek that out, and so it was very delayed thing for me to like begin like exploring. So I remember that.
Yeah, kids aren't all that ready to explore. I used to be a camp counselor, which you can tell from my entire energy, but I was a camp counselor to a group of girls who I would say they probably had all watched porn. They all had like big crushes, but I would say there were maybe 2 of them who were ready emotionally or physically for anything sexual. And the rest either were probably ready to like kiss someone or were not ready for anything of that sort at all.
I think the ultimate solution is just basically there needs to be better sex education. That is just ultimately is just like, I remember in high school, I had a sex education. Well, it was about like human sexuality and safe practices. She was Catholic and told us that she hated teaching us about condoms, but was obligated to do so. She was like, I hate that I have to do this, but I'm going to show you how to use this. I don't think it's right, but it was really funny to just see her like just the conflict in her heart. It was,
I had a crazy opposite experience though. I do think you can have too liberal of a sex education. And I say that because at LaGuardia, there was a teacher. I won't say his name, but he did get fired 2 years in for stealing camera equipment to make softcore porn.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. So he taught us sex ed in like 9th grade, and apparently it was so unsatisfactory that we later had to be taught it again in 12th grade, which is too late. But in 9th grade, he was gay. But he would say things like, all right, I just want you guys to know, you should never swallow a man's semen, even if he says he loves you.
Wait, please tell me he just he walked into class, put down his bag, and then he was like, good morning, everyone. All right, never, and just like immediately went into it, just unprompted.
It was not unprompted. It was like in the middle of it was like, blowjobs are this, so like here's this, and like this will give you an STD. By the way, like never swallow the semen.
Oh my God. Okay. Shall we end it there on
I think that is a great place to end it, Lucas.
I'm trying to imagine what he looked like. Please, can you just give a quick description?
He looked like Tom Hanks young. So that's a weirder spin on it. He wasn't an unattractive guy. He was young, he was like very normal seeming, but he was very intense. And then he'd come in and say things like that. Also, it was very clear at one point he was broken up with in the middle of the semester because he brought in a guy to watch one of the classes, and his name was Jesus, and he was a dancer on this guy. His name's Jesus. He's a dancer in West Side Story. Like he's watching the like yada 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 yada. It was clear it was his boyfriend, and then he never came back after that one lecture. This teacher grew a beard like a long beard. And then one day in class, he starts like almost crying, and he's talking about methods of acting. So he's like, okay, well, there is a method of acting, you know, the Strasberg method, where you take memories from your own life and you like transmit them into the scene. But you should never do that because some feelings are too strong and you should never have to feel them ever again. Do you see what I mean? Drama school's traumatizing. I should have had a normal. I want a fucking Letterman jacket. I want to be a cheerleader. I want Trump supporters in the school. If it means not having that, I don't actually want Trump supporters in the school.
Oh my god, that's so good. That feels like a sketch. Oh my god, that's too good. Okay.
Well, if anyone wants to write our sketch. And what was the other movie we suggested that they write?
Oh my god, I remember, but I don't remember. Oh my god. All right, so if you are a listener or a watcher, please write that sketch, or it was a movie. Oh damn, I don't remember. Oh, this is going to plague me. I need to listen back. Anyway, you know what it is. You can go back and listen to it. Please send in whatever, like a script maybe. Oh, we could act out like a script submission.
Oh, yeah. And we'll probably have a guest next week, right?
I think we do, indeed.
So a 3-character script.
Do. And on that note, I am Daddy Meerkat.
I'm Mommy Meerkat.
And you are all our beautiful little babies. And this has been episode 2 of Two Nosy Meerkats. And we will see you next time.